Okay, I think we're pretty much ready to start. There's a few of us joining us now, which is great to see. So today is all about getting more social media savvy for trades businesses. The idea of this is really to sort of walk you through some of the steps that we use and we follow and share some of the models that we use to get success for our clients. So I'm going to take you through a presentation, a workshop presentation that's going to take probably 30 to 40 minutes, and then we'll have time for questions and answers at the end. Okay, so just a very quick brief introduction to myself. So I'm a qualified marketer and I have been for over 15 years. I'm a former SME business owner myself, working directly with trades. I used to run a print and design business for nearly 10 years. Then I left and I spent 4 years working as a marketing director for a well-known vehicle leasing brand called Vanarama. I left them and decided to set up my business and decided to specialize in working with trades. Trades was an audience that I'd worked with previously and obviously worked with when I was at Vanarama, so it made sense to really specialize in working directly with the trade sector. I'm a growth marketer. So what does that mean? That means everything I do is focused around growth. I use tools and tactics which are all designed to help companies grow through growth marketing. I've completed a mini MBA in marketing and a mini MBA in brand management. So you're in very safe hands today. Okay, so moving on. I set up the business Get More Leads Locally really to service the trades market. As I said before, it's a market that I'm familiar with. It's an industry that I'm familiar with. So it made sense to build a business around helping trades businesses. So we offer 4 key services to trades businesses. And again, they're all designed to grow your local digital footprint and grow your business. So we offer search engine optimization to make sure you get found on Google for the right keywords. We offer Google AdWords support. So what that means is we help companies get their brand onto Google very quickly using Google AdWords. We optimize the campaigns. We set up landing pages for those keywords that you're targeting to make sure that your campaigns are optimized and delivering regular leads for your business. We also offer website support. So we do website building, but we also optimize websites as well. So that means we take a look at it through the eyes really of the customer and make sure that everything on your website, on your landing pages is designed to convert those website visitors into leads. And the final thing we do is we offer social media support for trades businesses. And that's a nice segue into what we're going to talk about today, which is social media. But I just wanted to talk you through really quickly a case study of somebody that we've been working with since only since March this year. So we started working with Jordan at Vedetta Heating and Plumbing, based in Leighton Buzzard, and we started working together in March. And obviously we all know what happened in March. So we'd only literally just been working together for a few weeks, and then COVID hit, everything was locked down, and we had to just get used to the new normal. But during that time, we built a responsive website for his business. His old website wasn't responsive, so on a mobile, it was an absolute car crash. It was a disaster. We established his Google My Business page, which now he gets regular phone calls and visits through to his website. We built and grew his Facebook page and Facebook presence from a standing start, now has over 250 local followers. We run Google Ads for Jordan as well, and it's Google Ads which are really working brilliantly for his business at the moment. But we also help him with social media support and other ad hoc marketing advice and support. One of the things that we've done recently is help Jordan get the ability to offer finance. He's an appointed representative for Worcester Bosch, and he can now offer finance, which puts his competitive offering up there with the likes of British Gas, Boxed, and lots of local competition. So we do more than just help with lead generation. We also help him sort of develop his business, and the result has been phenomenal. So this month alone, he's with 3 or 4 days to go, He's on 42 new inquiries through the phone or through the website at an average cost of lead of under £25 cost per lead, with potential revenue, if you're working on the basis of an average sale, everything between, you know, servicing a boiler and installing a new combi boiler. That's potential revenue for his business of about £21,000. So if he converted just half of that, that's at least £10,000 of additional revenue with an ad spend of under £1,000. So really great returns, and we're seeing loads of great SEO results for his business now. So he's getting more noticed for the key search terms that are relevant to his business, and he's got 8 really high-ranking, powerful search terms in the top 10. So he's doing phenomenally well. So I just wanted to talk you through that. And then today, what we're going to learn, what we're going to go through is establishing your social media goals. So this is what you're going to get out of today's workshop, today's session. So we're going to also cover what channels are right for your business. There's a lot of options out there, and hopefully I'll demystify some of that for you. What to post on your social media. That's always quite a contentious one, because it's not always easy to understand what you're going to post. Getting leads from your social media efforts, and I'm going to take you through a really simple 7-day social media plan that will help you kind of put together a bit of a content plan and make it easy for you. And I'll answer any questions at the end of the session as well. And as you saw there from my ambitious and speedy click on the button. So when you think of social media, most people think of just endless scrolling on your phone. You know, we all sit there, we all do it, we all sort of just kind of go through our phone, scroll away. And there's a lot of that goes on. Social media is really addictive, especially when it's done right. But for me, social media is all about this. It's all about the money, because ultimately that's what you're on social media for. I don't care sort of, you know, what any of the other experts say. Ultimately, it comes down to one thing. You know, it comes down to putting more profit on your bottom line. You know, the route to get there is really important, and what you post is really important. Social media is not just about posting offers all the time and adverts all the time. You know, social media is about engagement. It's about growing awareness. But ultimately, you know, you're there to grow your business. You're there to develop your business. You know, so fundamentally it is about trying to sort of ensure that what you're doing is profitable. So that takes us on nicely then to the goals of your social media efforts. So this section is all about looking at how you create goals for being on social media, to make sure that the work that you're doing, the time that you're putting into it, whether it's you or whether it's other people in your business, that you're being productive and you're achieving the goals that you set out to achieve. So if you imagine this as a traditional marketing funnel, and at the very top of the marketing funnel comes awareness. Nobody can buy from you unless they're aware of your business. So a lot of what you do on social media will be about raising local awareness. Now, local awareness isn't always going to convert into money. It's not always going to convert into inquiries. It's about getting your business out there and being known in your local community. But as you move further down the funnel, this is where you start to build authority and you build trust in your business by putting out the right sort of content. So you're taking that awareness and you're turning it into consideration. So people are aware of what you do. They're now starting to consider you when they have a need for your service or your product. Then one of the final steps in a traditional marketing funnel is convincing people why you. So, you know, you may well be in the mix with other local competitors, and your job through the content that you put out on social media is to convince people why they should buy from you. And there's ways, and I'll share some ideas on how you can do that. And then the final thing is when people become a customer, you want to stay front of mind. You know, there's a term called salience, brand salience, front of mind. You want to be front of mind in the eyes of your customer, so that when an opportunity arises, a neighbor or a friend or a relative, that you've got a chance of getting a referral. And one of the easiest ways you can keep in touch with your customers is through your social media. And you'll find that if you do that, you'll start to pick up referrals. If you get it right, you're going to hit that sweet spot. As you can tell, I love an animated GIF in a presentation. That one's maybe a little more inappropriate, but it kind of does what it says. So what are your goals for being on social media? And this is just an exercise that takes just a few minutes and really just a piece of paper. You could do it on the back of a napkin, but writing down your goals is really important, and I can't stress that enough. So what's your goals for being on social media? They could be, ultimately, you want to get more leads for your business. You want to grow your business. It could be that you want to grow your following. You know, that's all to do with that awareness at the top of the funnel that I was talking about. And you may use it to get reviews. So if you're on Facebook, or if you're on, if you've got a Google My Business page, then getting reviews can be a great way of also creating content for your social media. So you can repurpose the reviews that you get and then put them back out on social media as a nicely designed tile. And I'll show you an example of one of those a little bit later. So how do you measure success? How do you know if you're being successful on social media? Well, there's a number of metrics that you may or may not be aware of. One of the first ones is reach. And quite simply put, that's how many people have seen your content. So when you put a post on social media, you can often, in the insights area of your Facebook page, you can see how many people have actually seen your content, how many individual people have seen your content. Then another metric you might want to sort of take a look at is impressions. And this is the number of times your content has been seen by multiple people. So as an individual, I might see a piece of content 5 times that you've put out. So that's 5 impressions, but a reach of 1 person. Engagement is really critical to everything you're doing on social media. It's called social for a reason, because you need to be interacting and starting conversations. And, you know, the hope is that you can take those conversations from being online to being offline. And then also we're looking at website traffic. So how many people go from your social media posts or your social media profiles onto your website or onto your landing pages. And then the final one, and ultimately this is right at the bottom of the funnel that we were talking about, how many direct sales or inquiries are you getting from your social media? And all of those things you can be measuring. Okay, so that wraps up the first sort of little section that we were covering around creating goals. Creating goals for your social media is really the first step and something that you absolutely should do. And like I said, it can just take a few minutes of just writing them down on a piece of paper or on a Word document. So the next section that we're looking at is what social media channels are right for your business. So the first thing to point out, and again, this is a question, you know, that I do get asked fairly frequently, especially when we're talking about social media. People are obviously aware that there are dozens of potential social media channels that you can have your business on. And we'll go through some of those in a minute. And people just get overwhelmed by it, but it doesn't have to be like that. And it really doesn't have to be all of them. You don't have to have a sad Homer face. You know, you listen to some of the experts, they might say, you've got to be on every single channel. You've got to be putting content on every single channel every day. And of course, you know, that's great. If you've got a big team behind you, you can do that. But most of the guys that I work with, you know, they don't have big teams. So it's better to focus on, you know, a smaller number of social media channels and do them really well than try and be everywhere. Yes, there's tools that you can use to kind of get your content out there and post it on multiple channels. But if you're just posting the same thing on multiple channels, you know, I would argue that you're wasting your time. So it would be much better. And how can you monitor all the comments and the engagement on loads of different platforms? So for me, I would rather focus on a smaller number. So, but let's look at the options. So, you know, for business owners these days, you've got Facebook, you've got Instagram, you've got LinkedIn, you've got Twitter, Pinterest, WhatsApp is considered a social media channel, YouTube, Messenger, TikTok. So you've got a huge number. And there's ones there that I haven't even put. I mean, you've got Snapchat and you've got other fringe ones, and there's ones that we don't even know about that are just sort of starting off and just, you know, starting to build their audiences. But, you know, they're the main ones. And, you know, if you were to try and do all of those, I'd say you'd end up, you'd end up in a meltdown, because it's really difficult to try and be on all the time on all those channels. So just to give you an idea, you know, you've ultimately got to go where your customer is, you know, and that's one of the things that we'll cover in a second, is thinking about where your customer is. But, you know, this is just a snapshot of, you know, the social media channels and their size. So that's in millions of users. So at the top, you've got Facebook, 2.6 billion active users. YouTube and WhatsApp, very similar, on 2 billion users, 1.3 billion on Messenger, just over 1 billion on Instagram, and very close, you know, TikTok. And this changes all the time. I think this was from July. It's probably different now. It's really hard to sort of get bang up to date, but you know, this is going to change all the time. And then you got, you know, Twitter and Pinterest and you know, LinkedIn hasn't even sort of made the cut. So, you know, there's a lot of channels there, but that just gives you an idea of the size of their audience. So when we're talking about picking your social media channels, there are a number of questions that you need to ask yourself before you kind of dive in and start creating accounts here, there, and everywhere, and then it doesn't end up being any content on them and it all looks a little bit of a disaster. So one of the first questions you need to ask yourself is who is your ideal customer? Where do they hang out online? What social media channels are they using? What are your goals on social media, and how much time do you have available? So, you know, they're the fundamental questions that you need to ask yourself. You know, the first one is probably the most important one, is really understanding who your ideal customer is. And obviously where they're hanging out online. So if you're targeting, you know, again, we'll come on to this in a second, but, you know, if you're targeting teenagers, for example, you've got a product that you want to sell to teenagers, you know, hitting Facebook, you're probably not going to find too many of them on there. They're on there, but most of them are going to be on platforms like TikTok and Instagram. So it's really about understanding your audience. If you want to hit the 30 to 50-year-olds, you're going to find more of them on Facebook, you're going to find them on LinkedIn, you're going to find them on Twitter, you're going to find them on other channels. So it's really about understanding your audience, understanding what your goals are, because different channels deliver different you know, objectives and different goals. And how much time do you have available? You know, if you've got a limited amount of time, like I said before, it's going to be really difficult for you to be on all the channels. So just in my opinion, these are just broken down what each channel, what you're going to get from them. So Facebook, for me, the number one platform for trades. It's the number one platform for generating leads anyway, way above any of the other social media platforms. And it's great for growing awareness in the local community. A good tip for you is to join your local community and business groups, so you can get some additional reach that way. We also got Instagram, and it's great for growing awareness, building the trust and authority. You can share some really interesting stuff on Instagram. On both platforms, you've got the ability to add stories as well. You can do behind the scenes stuff. You can do how-to content. And it's great for building your brand. It's a very visual social media platform. So if you've got a really great brand, it's really good for showing that off. The next one that I'd like to sort of cover is YouTube. So YouTube should really be the kind of library, if you like, for all your social media, all your video content rather. And, you know, when you're creating video content, just make sure that you remind users to subscribe to your channel, so that when you do post updates, they're going to see it. And YouTube is really great for SEO as well. It's owned by Google. And when you upload new videos to YouTube, you get the ability to add some descriptive text. And within that descriptive text, you can also add links to your website or landing pages or product pages or service pages or whatever. And then the last one, which is one that is growing in popularity for trades businesses, is LinkedIn. If you think about LinkedIn, LinkedIn is full of business owners, people employed in business as well. It's a platform that's got over 300 million global users, so there's a big audience on there. And if you're a local trades person, the chances are there's going to be several thousand local business owners and employees that are going to be on LinkedIn in your local area or your surrounding area. If you're in a city, that could translate to tens of thousands of people. And LinkedIn is a great place to develop commercial relationships, not just business to consumer, but commercial relationships. So let's say if you're a plumber and you want to connect with letting agents because you've got a great deal for landlords, then you're going to find them on LinkedIn, and you can start to connect with them, start to put content out, start to become known to them, engage with their content, and start to build relationships with local businesses. But there are others. And one that we mentioned a few moments ago was TikTok. And, unless you've been hiding under a rock, then I'm sure you'll be aware of TikTok. And the impression when you say TikTok to somebody is that it's a jokey thing, and it's really for the kids, and it's people posting silly videos, and it's not really for me. And I hear that all the time. And there is, of course, there's a lot of content on there. And a lot of it is just daft stuff. But actually, if you're really smart about it, you can use it as a tool to create content, because the tools built within TikTok are great for allowing you to produce really great eye-catching content. And then you can use that and then put it on your other social media channels. So I just wanted to share a couple of stats with you. So TikTok, again, people's impression of TikTok is that it's kids, and yes, they're the biggest audiences. You look at the 10 to 19-year-olds and 20 to 29-year-olds. That's predominantly, the platform, the majority of it. But if you look at the stats in a different way, and you add up the other three columns, then you'll find that 37% of TikTok users are between the ages of 30 and 50. So if that's your demographic, if that's an audience that you're looking to connect with, and they're your customers, then you're going to find them on TikTok, and you're going to be able to create some really good content. This is an account that I just pulled up. It's an account that I follow. It's really simple stuff that he does. He sets up his phone and he records time-lapse videos of him doing landscape jobs. He's a landscape gardener, onegardener.co.uk. But if you look closer at his account, you'll see that he's got 20,000 followers on his channel, and that's grown all the time. His videos have been liked nearly 309,000 times, so very popular content. And I just thought I would share one of his videos, just so you can have a look and see. And then in a second, you'll be able to see how many views this video has had, and I think you'll find it quite astonishing. It's only an 11-second video. It's a time lapse of him pruning, this tree, this bush. It's a really quick video. I'll maybe just play it again for you, just so you can see it. And I think you'll be astonished at the number of views that this video has had. And yeah, you can argue that some of the views are going to be wasted because they'll be global and he will only travel so far. But, this is a really smart guy who's doing, some really great content, and he's using that content on other social media channels. So he's getting the fame locally as well, but he's reusing that content elsewhere. So just, this will blow your mind. So that video was only 11 seconds, got, wait for it, 1.7 million views of that piece of content. I think it's only been up for a few weeks. Not all of his videos get that level of engagement, Sometimes the algorithm can really favor a video. If it's performing well, it will get a a big boost on TikTok. But that's phenomenal. That's a lot of awareness that he's generating for his business. And like I say, you can use that content anywhere else. But ultimately, do what's right for your business, and you. You've got to enjoy what you're doing on social media so it doesn't become a chore. But don't forget to have fun, show off your personality while you do it. That's the most important thing. Social media is about being social. It's about showing off your personality. It's about getting the personality of your brand across. But have fun while you're doing it. The third section that we're going to cover is what to post to your social media channels. So again, this is a really hot topic. I look at a lot of social media accounts, and you just generally see the same old stuff day in, day out. Installs normally, photographs of pipes, photographs of boilers, and that's all fine, and it's good to share that sort of stuff. But you've got to mix it up with other content to sort of break it down a little bit. So, a few questions to ask yourself first before you start posting, or if you have your social media accounts, it's an opportunity to take a step back and just reflect. So one of the questions you need to be asking is, what's your brand personality and the purpose of your business? It's really important to have that written down. What's the personality that you want to convey on social media, and what's the purpose of your business? Why does it exist? What's the core value that's really at the heart of your business, and how can you bring that out on social media in the content that you put out? The next question, what are your social media goals? And we've covered those earlier on in the workshop. What goals do you have on social media? Because ultimately this is going to dictate the types of content that you put out there. Third question, who's your ideal customer? So again, it comes back to thinking about, who's your ideal audience? And some of the questions around that are, what problems does your ideal customer have? What are their jobs to be done? What's their friction? What do they wake up worrying about? And how can you kind of attack some of those problems in your social media? A good exercise to do is carry a notebook around with you, and any questions that you get asked by customers, start writing them down in your notebook, because what you're looking for is clusters, and you're looking for clusters of very similar questions that you're getting asked all the time. And if you're getting asked that question all the time, then that is an ideal piece of content you want to create. So again, if you're a boiler engineer, and you're getting asked, the same questions about, how do you sort of keep your boiler clean, or, how do you, stop it from, you just want to write down these questions in a notebook, and then that should be your fuel for social media. And then the final question, what platforms you're going to be using, because like we've said, and like we've discussed, some platforms are very, very visual. Some lean more towards text and images. So, if you think about those questions first, then that's going to help you when you start to put your social media content plan together. So, we covered the marketing funnel at the top of the workshop, but this just kind of gives you some ideas for each step of the funnel, the types of content that you could be putting out. So to create awareness for your business on social media, you could look at creating some video ads. You can go to fiverr.com and you can get some really cheap video ads put together, start sharing those on your social media accounts, share them into local groups, and suddenly your awareness is going to go through the roof. You could do some animated explainers of your process. You could do some product videos showing different products. Again, boiler company, if you've got, the Hive system where you can do everything from your phone, that's a great thing to sort of show off as a quick demonstration. You could be posting offers, blog posts, that's all stuff that's going to generate really great awareness for your business, especially if you can share it into local groups as well. And then in the middle of the funnel, this kind of consideration step is things like, create some how-to videos. You could do some time-lapse videos like the one that I just showed you with a guy on TikTok. You could talk about the qualifications and associations that you're a member of. This bit, you're looking to build, trust. Again, blog posts, share your backstory. Everyone's got a story. Customers love to sort of know about the heart of the business, the people behind the business. And then at the very bottom of the funnel, what's the type of content that's going to convert people that are interested in your business? You're in the mix with one or two other local competitors. What's the type of content that's going to get people over the line and convince them to deal with you? It's things like testimonials, video reviews, case studies, all of that sort of stuff is really great content to be putting out on your social media. So right at the top of the funnel, that's how people get to know you. In the middle of the funnel, that's where you build your like, and then at the bottom of the funnel is where the trust is built. So, people can't buy from you if they don't know you. Very rarely will people buy from you if they don't like you. And you've got to be trusted to get that customer. So that's just a really simple sort of look at some of the content you can be putting out, which tackles different parts of this funnel. And I've just got some examples from the chap that we spoke about at the top of the workshop, who we're helping grow his business. So this is a piece of content that we put out, which is getting to know him. It's a picture of him. It's some of his handiwork there on site, and it's a little story about the customer and what they did and how they helped. And then the next piece of content is the sort of light content right in the middle of the funnel, shows builds your authority, and it's a blog that was written about turning on your heating after the summer, some helpful hints and tips to make sure that you do it successfully. And then at the bottom of the funnel is the trust stuff. This is the stuff that gets people over the line, builds your authority, builds the trust, and it's a review that's been repurposed as a neat little tile, branded tile, very eye-catching, very thumb-stopping, and it's just a really great testimonial from one of their customers. And it's in the post, it's got a link to their website, it's got the phone number there, and again, you start sharing that sort of stuff into the local community groups on Facebook, and you do really well. And the other thing you can do, and we'll talk a little bit about repurposing in a minute, but you can post that straight onto Instagram as well. So if you've got an Instagram account, you've kind of hit two audiences with the one post. Just a really quick word on, I don't know whether you've heard the differences between the Instagram feed and Instagram stories, or a lot of platforms now have their own version of stories. So you've got Facebook stories, you've got LinkedIn now has stories, YouTube, but one of the biggest is Instagram. So if you think of it as in this way, so on the left hand side you've got the feed. So that's normally where you post directly to your account, and it stays there. And when you scroll, you can see the little squares on people's accounts, and that's their Instagram feed. The feed stays there forever. It's great for reaching new audiences. You can use hashtags. Most people tend to sort of scroll with the sound off. So when they're looking at the feed, the sound will be off. It's the sort of visual kind of representation of your brand, if you like. But on the other side, on stories disappear after 24 hours. However, you can save them. So you can save them into, you've got the little icons at the top of your account, and you can save them in there to prevent them from disappearing. So you can kind of curate different themes of content onto your Instagram account. Great for growing engagement. People love engaging with stories. You can do so many different things. You can run polls and get feedback, and run Q&As through stories. There's so much you can do. Most people tend to have the sound on. This is stats from Instagram, so they know that most people have their sound on when they're looking at the stories. So it's a good way of creating audible and video content. but what you're really looking to do with the stories, people are just looking for that, behind the scenes, behind the curtain style content. It doesn't have to be so on brand. It doesn't have to be, that kind of branded approach. It can be very much behind the scenes, off the cuff, sharing those sort of moments in the day, sharing your thoughts, but really great for growing reach and growing engagement of your audience. And then don't be afraid to, throw in some different posts from time to time. This was one, that we sort of hijacked a story in Leighton Buzzard, which is the town where this guy runs his business. There was a minor earthquake about a month or so ago. And so we decided to put out a post which was a bit cheeky, which was get a free t-shirt with boiler installs. Of course, a complete and utter joke, but drove a lot of traffic through to the website. On this particular post, we did a few. There was 5 clicks. I think it drove, in total 30 or 40 clicks through to his website, and a few people ran quotes. So it was really, really good. But, if you look at it, it reached 2,500 people, got great engagement, lots of 96 reactions, comments and shares. So don't be afraid to, newsjack, hijack the moment and create some content around it. Also think about creating campaigns to get your message across. So again, this was just one that we did earlier on in the autumn, which was just really timed around, summer was finishing, the cold weather was starting, there was a cold snap. So we decided to put out couple of different posts, one aimed at, females, one aimed at males or vice versa. And, and again, they did really well. There was a link in there. There was a phone number in there. We got some phone calls. We got some traffic through to the site. And it was just different. It stopped the scroll. They're funny little images. They've got a lot of emotion in the image, and it stops the scroll. So don't be afraid to do something a little bit different as well. So one of the final things in this section is really thinking about creating your own content pillars. So content pillars are basically themes of content that you can group together. And we've sort of covered them off in the earlier section, but I just wanted to kind of show it in this way because it's quite a visual way of thinking about it, columns of content. So the first pillar of content you could have is entertaining your audience. People are on social media to be entertained. So you can serve up content on your social media that makes them smile, laugh, cry, whatever. So that's your first pillar of content, and that could be things like fail videos, behind the scenes, stories from being on site, blooper reels, funny pictures, memes, jumping on trends. There's always dance trends, or the biggest trend I think of the last sort of decade was the ice bucket challenge years ago. I think it's probably 6-7 years ago now. But jump on those because it shows your personality of your brand. The next pillar could be around educating your audience. So creating how-to videos, before and after videos, product demonstrations, time lapses. We sort of looked at those, and then the final one is about establishing your trust. So the case studies, the reviews, customer videos. Could you get a customer on? Sort of giving you a video testimonial. They're so powerful. Talk about your qualifications, the associations that you're a member of. This is about establishing your trust locally. This is about, when you're in the mix with one or two other companies, how can you get that customer over the line? And then just one of the final things in this section I wanted to sort of share with you is another way of looking at this, all this content. And I've shared a couple of different models, but this is quite a popular one. This is quite a popular way of thinking about your content. So if you think about, let's say, the next 3 months, up to Christmas and New Year, what you're looking to have is essentially one big campaign, one big hero moment that you can kind of hang your hat on and, put a lot of effort and momentum into. And then you've got your sort of, kind of regular hub content, which is just the kind of daily stuff that you want to be putting out to keep your brand alive, keep the awareness growing, grow your audience, all of this sort of stuff. And then, you know, the third strand of content is your help content. And we've sort of covered that, so I won't labor on that too much. But this is another way of segmenting up your content into neat kind of pillars, if you like. So have one big hero kind of moment. You know, if you do sponsorship, if you sponsor a little local kids football team, you know, the kickoff of the new season could be the big hero moment where you reveal your sponsorship of their kit, you know. So just think about your calendar in quarters, and ideally, you know, you want at least one big hero moment in a quarter. Another way of looking at it is this kind of rather rough drawing, but you know, you can sort of see you've got your daily sort of you know, helpful content, you've got your hub content, and then you've got this, you know, this kind of hero content sort of approach. So you've always got something going on your social media, because there's nothing worse than having your social media channels and, you know, just posting once and then not posting again for another 3 or 4 weeks, you know, posting once or twice on Instagram and then nothing for another few weeks. Look, we're all guilty of it. I'm guilty of it. But the idea with this session is that, you know, we start to think a little bit more strategically about our social media so we can get the most from it. So one thing I mentioned a few moments ago, which was, you know, if you're short on time, how can you sort of, you know, kind of hack to get more content out there? And one of the ways of doing that is repurposing your content. So let's say you've got a blog on your website that's, that you're either creating now or it's created, and it's, you know, you get a lot of site traffic, you know, it does well for you. One of the things you could do is turn it into a video. So you could create a piece of video content from it. So you're creating from the blog, you're then creating a piece of video content, and then you can share that video onto Facebook. You can also share it onto Instagram and Instagram TV, and you can upload it to your YouTube channel. So that one piece of content, you know, you've now respun into 3 pieces of content. And then you could even go further if you can find somebody to work with and help you edit the videos. You can cut down your content into smaller chunks. So again, you know, you could go from 3 to 9 to 12 pieces of content, all from that one blog post. So don't always think about pieces of content in isolation. If you've got a great blog, turn it into a video and then share the video into multiple places. The fourth section that we're going to cover is how to start getting leads from social media. So I've got a couple of ideas for you. You know, this is a really basic one. This is the first one, but this is really basic. You know, and it's about just doing the basics well. And you'd be surprised when you go onto social media accounts, the number that just don't have, you know, even the basic contact details. So what you're aiming for is to make sure that you've got a decent description added to your social media so people know where you are, what you do, and who you serve. You want to make sure that you've got your website address in there. Make sure you got your phone number in there. Make sure that people can contact you through Facebook Messenger. This is a Facebook profile. There's a WhatsApp button on there. So again, just giving people different options on ways to contact you. And you've got the email address there. So you've got, including the phone number, you've got like 6 different ways that a customer can contact you. So there's no reason why they can't get in touch with you. So do the basics right first. But then I just wanted to share, you know, this is what we've been doing with Jordan. It's been working really, really successfully. So, you know, the first step is you've really got to think about how you can build a really strong local brand. You know, be known as the local go-to expert, give back to your local community, build distinctive assets, you know, your van sign writing, your personalized clothing, you know, everything about your business should be distinctive and should separate you out from, you know, your competition. So that's the first step on the road to getting more local leads. The second step is find somebody within your business who can be, you know, a social media champion for you. So either it's going to be yourself, you need to be really active on all the social media channels, or it could be your partner, it could be a son, a daughter. You could outsource it to a VA, but you need to find somebody in your business that's going to act as the social media champion, because what you want them to do is join all the local community groups and business groups, and be ready for when people are requesting your services, that you can respond fast to opportunities. So, have your social media champion looking out for recommendations on, Facebook groups, and respond quickly. The other thing that we've been doing, and it's been working really well, is, having advocates for your business, and if you remember a few moments ago that, that very last section on the funnel, referrals, having people that have experienced your product, experienced your brand, and are brand advocates for you. And if you can get a few of those in your local area, and every time somebody posts a request for a particular service that is one that you can deliver, is that, they're going to start responding and recommending you, but you can't do any of that until you've kind of built this great local brand. You've got somebody who's a social media champion in your business and is looking out for you, that you're connected and you're in all these local community groups, and you can respond fast to the opportunities that come up. So that's just a couple of ways of how you can get social media working for you. We've been doing this, for years. And, again, talking about Jordan, it was a case study I spoke about at the start. He's getting multiple opportunities a week just by doing this, just by being there, being present, being, a good local guy, having a good reputation. And he's picking up some serious business from Facebook groups that he's a member of. And then the final thing I wanted to share with you, just, how we can put this all together into a really simple 7-day social media plan. So there's Monday to Sunday. At the moment, we've got nothing in it. So we're going to build a really simple, it's only going to be a few minutes, but a really simple social media plan that will cover a week. And you can then repeat this kind of every week. And you can take the ideas from this workshop, and you can kind of fill in the days how you want. But essentially, you want to start thinking about, so on a Monday, share a recent review from your Google or Facebook page in a tile. You can use Canva to create some really, unique looking sort of tiles that are branded. But also make sure that you're building up your assets. So take shots from any installs that you're doing. Tuesday, you could, from the install from yesterday, you could then do a before and after of a recent job. And in the post, just sort of talk about the job, talk about the customer, talk about the problems that they had, talk about your solution and why it was better than anyone else's. And but also, when you're out and about, take a time-lapse video. Every day you should be thinking about how you can build up your assets so you're not struggling, with what to post on social media each day. Wednesday could be a video, could explain a technical aspect of an install. So, if you've got somebody working with you, if you've got an apprentice or a buddy that you work with, they could film you, and you could just do like a 30-second to a minute video just explaining a technical aspect and why it's important that it has to be done this way for safety reasons, because it's a great way of growing your trust and authority locally. On a Thursday, you could share an article from your blog and a job that you've been doing in the day. You could try and see if the customer would be willing to give you a little video testimonial. Obviously, it helps if you know the customer or you've prepped them up. But, just at the end of the job, just, if you've got a good rapport with them, just ask them. They're only going to say no. They can only say no, but ask them, and you might surprise yourself. And video reviews are, just so powerful on social media. And then Friday, you could create an offer for the weekend and share it into local Facebook groups to sort of build your awareness and maybe develop some leads over the weekend to sort of carry you through into the following week. Saturday, this is where social media is great, because what we want to see is behind the scenes, behind the curtain of what goes on in your business, and people want to know the person behind the business. So, take the opportunity at the weekend to sort of share put out a post which is you doing what you do in your spare time, in your downtime. If you go fishing, put out a fishing picture. If you're into golf, do that. If you're into motorsports, post up, motorsports related stuff. It's your social media channel for your business, but you're the owner of the business, and you should be, showing people about the person behind the business. And then finally, you could share a reflective or motivational quote on a Sunday, maybe to fire up your followers for the week ahead. Something that means something to you, and this is where again you want to get your personality across. So that's what a typical week could look like for your social media. You can take all the ideas of all the different posts, but the most important thing you need to be looking at is that, across the bottom is how can you be building up your assets from all the jobs that you do in the week. Do some before and after shots, do some time-lapse videos of an install, a boiler install, or landscaping. Try and get some customers on video. Just do whatever you can to keep building up your assets. And that's it. So thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of the workshop. There were a couple of questions that sort of popped through. So I'll just quickly read those out. So what tools can I use to make my life easier? I presume you mean social media tools, not sort of works tools, but so yeah, I mean, there's things like Hootsuite. These are scheduling tools that you can use to kind of schedule a bit of the content, do a bit of the heavy lifting. You've got Buffer is another one. You've got Later. Some of these would be really good for creating stories as well. But also you've got tools like Canva. And Canva you can have on your phone. iMovie, if you've got an iPhone, there's always an Android equivalent, but iMovie, if you've got an iPhone, you can cut together videos and images, and you can create some really great videos from tools like that. So yeah, I mean, it's there's loads of tools. Lots of them are free or cheap, but would help you get ahead of the game. Another question was, how do I know if I'm being successful or what we're doing is working? Well, that comes back to your goals, and it comes back to the metrics right at the top. So if you missed it, kind of go back to section 1, which was all about, goal setting and looking at the metrics. So that's how you're being successfully set some quarterly goals. We want to grow our accounts by X. We want to increase engagement on our posts by X. And we want to generate, 20 leads through our social media. Because ultimately, it's about growing that awareness, converting that awareness into consideration, and then from consideration, converting people into being customers. So listen, I hope that was, I'm just going to check to see if there are any others. I hope that was useful. Yeah, no, that was it. I hope that was useful. Just a really quick reminder that we offer what's called a power hour. So we do a social media power hour. So what we do is we review all of your social media channels. We look at ways to fix any issues. So it might be that your bio is not complete, or there's spelling mistakes or whatever. So we'll fix those issues for you. Review and feedback of your recent content you've been putting out, give you content ideas on stuff that you could be doing, and help you write or rewrite your bio or introduction to make sure it's impactful. And all this we can review in a live one-to-one video call. So we can go through it step by step and help you get your social media channels up to speed. So if you're interested in that, it's £99. You get an hour with me going through your social media, helping you make the changes needed, looking at opportunities where you can leverage your brand locally to develop leads for your business, fix any issues, yeah, and give you some really good content ideas, stuff that you can do and implement yourself. So if you're interested in that, if you email hello@getmoreleadslocally.com and just quote social savvy offer, then that will get you that £99 social media power hour. I don't offer them anywhere else. To be honest with you, with the time that it takes, that should be nearer, a couple of £100, because it does take a good few hours to sort of audit and review all the accounts. So at £99, that's a really, really good offer. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you found that useful. We run a few of these workshops, so don't forget to look out for the other ones. But for now, thanks for joining us, and I will speak to you real soon. Take care.